Thank you for coming, everyone. Let me introduce our first speaker for the plenary session this afternoon.
So my wife had a similar problem.
Professor Ya-Huei Wang.
Wang,
right?
yes.
Thank you. So let me just give you a short bio. Professor Ya-Huei Wang is a professor at Chung Shan Medical University. She got her PhD in education from National Taiwan University of Education in Taiwan. She has published more than 40 research papers in BJET, Higher Education, ESWA, and other journals. Her current research interests include adapted learning, interdisciplinary cooperative learning, complementary learning, etc. She teaches at the Department of Applied Foreign Languages, Chung Shan Medical University, and the Department of Medical Education. Also, the Chung Shan Medical University Hospital.
Yeah.
Quite an impressive resume. Good. The title of your address is The Use of Narrative Medicine Literature for Interdisciplinary Communication through the Internet Learning System.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Okay. My topic is the use of narrative medicine literature for interdisciplinary communication through Internet Learning System. Going to go to introduction. The advance of medical science and technology has caused the modern practice of medical care too much focus on using non-human technologies to keep patients alive longer than expected. Moreover, the overload of paperwork leads medical professionals to interpret and judge patients' medical history mainly based on scientific content, ignoring the fact that, quote, medicine is more restoring the peace of mind than curing the disease. An increasing reliance on non-human technologies leads to an impersonal and calculated medical care system in which groups of medical professionals and specialists participating would not care much about patients' human experiences regarding pain, suffering, desperation, or even dying. The overemphasis on impersonality and calculability leads to a decline in the quality of medical care, for patients have more interaction with impersonal technologies and lose personal contact with their doctors and other medical care professionals, falling into a number of a product on a medical assembly line. As Shan said that when medical care professionals pay too much attention on scientific elements instead of having an awareness of what patients go through, the medical care system is dehumanizing and is only but half a medicine. So we have to care about us physically and also spiritually. In medicine and medical care, humanities will never be developed unless medical care professionals begin to care about patients' inner and psychological world. Failing to understand patients' perspectives will lead to communication problems among physicians, medical care professionals, patients, and patients' families. However, this kind of communication problems may be bridged by narrative knowledge, a vehicle to keep a good interpersonal relationships among them. Viewing that the current practice of medical care is intensely stressful, impersonal, and lacking of empathetic connection, in order to tap patients' body, mind, and soul into consideration, in many medical care schools and universities, medical humanities programs have been underway to incorporate narrative literature and art study into existing curricula or practice to balance the largely scientific content. Narrative medicine was developed in the United States in the 1980s. In the United States, narrative knowledge has been used in art and literature study in many medical schools and hospitals for students and physicians to strengthen their reflection, self-awareness, and the adoption of patients' perspective. Shan, professor of clinical medicine and director of the program in narrative medicine at the Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons, defined narrative medicine as medicine, quote, practice with a narrative competence to recognize, absorb, interpret, and be moved by the stories of illness. She pointed out that the use of narratives in literature and medicine classes can help medical care students and professionals develop sensitivity while making medical choices for patients and further decrease the distance between doctors' clinical knowledge, that is disease, and patients' subjective experiences of symptoms and suffering, that is illness. Literary narratives can help better understand patients' lived experiences. For the concepts central to medical care, such as pain, death, suffering, illness, hope, redemption, aging, loss, death, and even love, are common in literature narratives. The techniques used to comprehend and criticize novels can also be applied to understand patients' discourses. Through closer and more sustained reading, medical care professionals and students can be aware of the multiplicity of critical and interpreted approaches to understanding of the world of nursing, patients, claims, health, illness, disability, and the healthcare and social political systems within which they work. The narratives can also help medical care professionals and students examine the ethical dilemmas existing in medical care delivery, therefore developing empathy with and respect for others. While appreciating the narrative medicine literature, instead of merely focusing on chronological accounts of events, experiences, or actions, the reader should focus on the mental process of narrators or storytellers who may stand within or outside the story from time or space perspectives, using plots, the central structure of narratives, to tie different parts together to organize them into a meaningful whole. Moreover, the reader should also focus on how the narrators or storytellers use the triad of attention, representation, and affiliation in the practice of narrative medicine in order to learn how to articulate and reflect on the medical care process, further emphasizing with human beings suffering and developing healing affiliations with their patients and with their colleagues. In such, narrative medicine becomes a functional instrument for medical care professionals to share life stories with their patients, families, colleagues, public, or even have an inner talk with themselves. Now here comes the interdisciplinary communication. In order to facilitate interdisciplinary communication among a range of medical care disciplines, interdisciplinary cooperative learning should be promoted. The benefit of this kind of learning is that those with different backgrounds and disciplines can acquire and share medical care knowledge or experience by learning from each other or from one another. The variables regarded importantly by the instructor, such as gender differences, grade differences, or college major differences, will be used to derive the interdisciplinary cooperative learning clusters. So here there are a kind of, there are many steps to try to derive the interdisciplinary cooperative learning clusters. Then it depends on, we use a lot of different kind of ways to do this one thing. So I'm going to try to introduce two. So this one is cluster grouping method for interdisciplinary communication. And using that, we have the, this one is, if using the reflection, thinking is important. So we have the RTS, and we have the DPCS, doctor-patient communication skills, and also have this kind of empathy skills, ES. So you put different kind of skills inside. So you try to use this kind of equation to try to derive the interdisciplinary learning clusters. So also this kind of research is kind of interdisciplinary research. And maybe if you think that there's another kind of, you use this kind of equations to try to derive this one, or maybe if you think that the gender, grade, college major, they are also different, they are important. So we use the input. You input something using that are important, and also go through the process. We have 4 or 5 students in each learning cluster, and then at least 2 females and 2 male students will be included in this kind of thing. And also, second, students in each learning clusters should come from different majors and also from different grades or different years. So we come to have the kind of output. This one is is much simple. But the first one, this one use the kind of when we use this one, it would be quite a little bit difficult for this one. But maybe the second one, this one is easier. And then we have the narrative medicine, and we have the interdisciplinary learning clusters. So we're going to try to use we're going to apply this kind of narrative method to interdisciplinary cooperative learning clusters through internet learning system. The internet learning system has been widely used for flexible learning. For the internet learning is out of time and space constraints. This system is a web-based learning supporting interactive teaching and learning communication. Among internet learning, online discussion forums have been promoted for interactive communication. For using the online bulletin board, students can interact with students coming from different backgrounds and disciplines by posting and responding to messages. Moreover, the online discussion forums provide students more time to seek, collect, organize, synthesize, and reflect upon information. In order to think over their critical issues and find solutions for them, they have more time to try to think about something. Moreover, through online discussion, they can have a chance to hear multiple and contradictory arguments and viewpoints, and have the power to knowledge construction. So we would never think that teachers have the power to construct the knowledge. We think students, they also have the power to try to construct the knowledge, and they can try to share the knowledge. In order to share this kind of communication, then we're going to use the online discussion forums to try to put it into practice. As mentioned, while appreciating medical medicine literatures, students should concentrate on how the narrators or storytellers use the triad of attention, representation, and affiliation to share life stories, to reflect upon medical care process, and to develop empathy and affiliation with their patients. And we have the teaching activities include class instruction, independent study, cluster grouping discussion, presentation and discussion forum. They also have a lot of self-study for e-learning, and this is the conceptual framework. So we have the framework, we have the literature review, we have the literature work collection, and also the narrative medicine literature works. Then we collect the literature for instruction, and also the website modification and expansion, and the lesson plan and discussion forum set up. And also we have the medical humanities movie night. So students can try to go to the movie and try to see the film, and they can try to discuss something. They go to the internet, go to the discussion forum to try to discuss with something. And we have the pre-test. And then we have tried to, but the pre-test, maybe the measures would be varied among different instructors. You've seen that one you've seen these factors are important, and you will try to pre-test your students for this one of thing. And later you have the cluster algorithm development, and you based on the scores to try to derive this kind of different kind of learning clusters. And we have this kind of narrative medicine, literature study for interdisciplinary communication. And also you try to have kind of discussion forum here, and also have the post-test. And we try to check whether there are kind of improvement after this kind of thing, whether they are going to have a kind of increase in their empathy, in their sensitivity, and in their doctor-patient relationships, the kind of the scores for this kind of thing. And we talk about the independent study. Students have to try to read or see the assigned short stories, novels, or films regarding narrative medicine, medical humanities literature according to the study schedule. Also, they have to base on scheduled topic issues such as suffering, lying, life meaning, doctor-patient relationships, body subjectivity, death with dignity, etc. They can choose the films they prefer to study from the pool of medical humanities films selected by the instructor. So they choose the films they want to study, so they can have kind of interactions through the kind of discussion forum. They try to interact with other classmates and also some classmates. While students study independently, the instructor may try to give some help when requested. As mentioned, after going through the cluster algorithms for interdisciplinary cooperative learning cluster grouping, Students in each group will be arranged into interdisciplinary cooperative learning clusters to facilitate cooperative learning. And also they have to go to the self-study and independent study. Also we have kind of presentations. In this kind of presentations, a representative in each learning cluster will be randomly selected to give a 10-minute oral report on the literature works they have shared within his or her learning cluster. So they have tried to share the films they study with their learning cluster. Then they're going to give the presentation and try to give the class this kind of presentation to share that kind of experience with their classmates. Also, we have the kind of discussion forum. This is a discussion forum I developed for my university. In this kind of discussion forum, students can post, modify, discuss, and give feedback to medical issues, and being an synchronous online discussion among students. Students will not be required to give their feedback instantly, therefore having more time to think and give comments to the issues. We think that nowadays students, they don't think a lot, so we try to let them try to think about something. And also without face-to-face discussion, the discussion forum allows for an environment, a less threatening environment. Students can explore and try to learn together. Also, they can share their summary, report, and description on the lecture topics or the material they read. They may also share a passage of life stories or case study with their classmates in order to realize patient suffering and also emphasize their dilemma situations. So this kind of my medical humanities education and also English learning websites. So this kind of websites, students get into the website to try to discuss with their thing. And also this one is kind of a new website, So I'm going to incorporate the all website into this kind of thing. And also we have kind of narrative medicine website here. I'm going to try to make it into two. One is open for public and one is for students. So I'm going to try to close the discussion forum in order to have the password, in order to try to protect the students. But if someone would like to do, they can go to the public interaction. The one is open, but for my students, I have to try to protect my students. I will try to close this one. If students want to, that everyone want to share his or her information to everyone, he can go to the public. So the kind of medical humanities, something. And there are some kind of expected contributions of using the narrative medicine for interdisciplinary communication, such as acquaintance of narrative medicine literature and skills, meaning-making, catharsis, reflection, and also interdisciplinary teamwork collaboration. So as for acquaintance of narrative medicine literature and skills, the use of narrative medicine for this kind for interdisciplinary communication can help medical care students and professionals understand the importance of listening and hearing the patient story for further clinical communication. And you try to communicate with someone else. Also, while appreciating narrative medicine literature, students can reflect upon moral and ethical dilemmas in medical care situations and develop human and humane understanding through developing skills of observation, diagnosis, insight, intuition, empathy, and self-reflection. In addition, students can realize these skills such as attention, representation, and affiliation into practice. They also develop the capacity for attention and the competency of representation in order to lead to an improved clinical affiliation with their patients and their colleagues. Therefore, developing sensitivity in the context of the illness experience from the patient-centered perspective. Right now we're not going to go to the patient-centered perspective, not the doctor or medical doctor's perspective. We go to the patient-centered. And as for meaning-making, illness narratives are revealed in a fictional technique in which narrators or storytellers use forms, genres, and narrative skills to vividly represent the illness. Because illness refers to a kind of disruption, somewhat a threat to the integrity of identity. Through illness narrations as a bridge, usually written by patients or patients' families, doctors or other medical care professionals, they can reveal their suffering and to try to make sense of their suffering to reach an identity integration. So the kind of meaning-making breakdown, so try to build up the kind of meaning-making and try to integrate this kind of identity, not only for the patients, also for the medical doctors and nurses, and also medical care professionals, and maybe the patients' families. While experiencing the scenario in illness, narratives regarding aging, dying, illness, and realizing the limitation of medical technology. Medical care students and professionals can strive to give meaning to life existence in order to try to cope with the fragility and uncertainty of human life. With stronger awareness of meaning in life, they can be much more empathetic with patients' predicament and unbearable suffering, therefore more willing to try to collaborate with other professionals in order to try to offer more comfortable patient care. As for catharsis, catharsis is a metaphor originally proposed by Aristotle in the Poetics. It is a process of the purgation or cleaning oneself of negative feelings within the human spirit, such as pity and fear, throughout art and literature appreciation, in order to try to lead to renewal and a kind of restoration. While reading the illness narratives, readers may be personally identified or emotionally involved with characters or circumstances, therefore provoking a kind of emotional response. For instance, they may personally identify with the dying cancer patients or the powerless physicians toward the limitation of medical technology. And while appreciating this kind of narrative medicine literature, students and professionals' pity and fear toward those medical dilemmas and predicaments should be aroused, however purified and purged through catharsis. So here comes the kind of emotional cleaning. Hence, narrative medicine can serve as kind of function to purify pity and fear for the readers through the experience of the emotions in response to the uncertainties of medical technology and of the suffering of others. So actually, sometimes the medical technology can try to solve everything, but you have to use kind of psychological, try to comfort the patients and patients' families. As for reflection refers to a cycle of deliberate, systematic, and structured intellectual inquiry activities aimed to make sense of troubling situation or dilemma. Throughout the triad of attention, representation, and affiliation in the narrative medicine literature study, medical care students and professionals would learn to reflect upon the troubling medical care process or dilemma. They will feel sympathetic with human beings' misfortune and hence lead to healing affiliation with patients and collegial affiliations with their co-workers. In addition, through the reflection process in narrative medicine study, they can pull back their lens to see through crucial incidents, human interactions of suffering from different perspectives, and can be more conscious about these kind of controversial issues in narrative medicine literature, and also try to raise skepticism over these issues, thus afterwards developing analytical and synthetic thinking from a variety of perspectives in order not to repeat the mistake of the past. So they know how to analyze, to try to integrate something, so not to try to repeat the mistakes. And also for the interdisciplinary teamwork collaboration, research has shown that heterogeneous or interdisciplinary grouping can enhance students' collaborative experiences and interactive professional relationships in that, compared to the students in homogeneous learning groups, students with different backgrounds have more productive engagement in activities and interaction with each other. They can try to listen to different voices, so they can be much more open-minded. To facilitate this kind of interaction, we use this kind of interdisciplinary learning clusters to facilitate this kind of cooperation. Students in this kind of learning clusters, they have the chance to listen to different voices and therefore learn to respect the opinions of others, be more objective afterwards. They may be used to keep an intersubjective relationship. It's not easy to keep this kind of intersubjective relationship to their colleagues, patients, and patients' families. So everyone could be the subject, and also it could be the subject. So here's the reference. This is the end of my reservation, my presentation. Thank you.
Where were you 30 years ago?